So about, I think 2 years ago, I was Googling contemporary Christian artists so I could get some more ideas to make glass, because I got to keep making glass. So I Googled contemporary Christian artists, and what popped up was James, H-E-Q-I, James Hook. And I saw him, I was looking at his art, I thought it's cool, really beautiful, I loved it. So I adapted my first piece of his art to glass, and I put it on Facebook, and I put his name on it as being the artist that I adapted it from. And a couple days later, I got a thumbs up from James. So this was cool. So I found out later, I don't know who contacted who first on Messenger, but we got together, we talked about it. He wanted to see my studio and my garage. And so when COVID got a little bit better, we invited him and his wife, Lily, who can't be here this morning because she is a choral conductor at a church. So, yeah, John came into that. So James and I, were able then to communicate. They came over to our house. He saw my studio. He gave me a copy of his book, beautiful book. I think he probably brought a copy today. And then I laid out the ones that I had done of his, adapted from him. And at the time I had like 9. And I said, James, you can choose any one of these and do one, if you like. And he chose the one, Jesus at Heart's Door. And so I still got all the other ones, but James has that one. So, that's about it. I'm gonna not say too much more about James and his background. I'll let him tell you all about his interesting, fascinating background. I've already explained that some people here are choir members and had to leave about 9:15, but he's here for it. And then after church, he's got all of his art set up in the fireside room. So be sure to come down to coffee hour and take a look at his art at that point. Thank you, James. Thank you.
Neil, set up the room so we can hang all those artwork up.
We all did.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, about our apprenticeship. Yeah, I got a scholarship to study medieval art in Germany, Hamburg Art Institute. And particularly focus on medieval art, stained glass, Gothic stained glass. They're traveling around 10 different European countries, particularly in UK, I went to York Minster discussing the medieval art. I met a famous expert prepare the medieval art, stained glass there. So I had a dream. Yeah, after I finished my dissertation, I will design some art process stained glass. And before I did bring my family immigrate to the United States, 2004, my dream almost realized. There was a Hong Kong Catholic church, St. Thomas Church, very, very brand new St. Thomas Church. They would like to, they invited me to do some stained glass design, and the pastor of the priest told me, we will send your sketch to Italy to make a very good, according to medieval stained glass style. Then after 2 more years, I came to visit Hong Kong again to see the church. They only displayed my sketch frame. So my dream is still on the wall. but I made consent. Even his studio is a little small in your garage. Yeah, you try some. Use my images to make a wonderful stained glass. Appreciate. I bring my wife come to see your studio. Oh, wonderful, just interesting. Thank you. Apprenticeship. Now it's Kevin. Today I would like to share my art for peace and justice, my art creed. Yeah. I'd like to say thank you, everybody. This early morning so cold, Manhattan Beach. Yeah, this early morning, I got up about 5 a.m. I never did for many years, but because I'm living in Arcadia, so long, right? But early morning is okay. Sunday morning because it's easy. Yeah, so I arrived here just 7 o'clock. Then waiting here about 20 minutes. It's so cold. Say, I'm already in your church right now. That's okay. Yeah. As for peace, I'd like to share my architect experience. 2 years ago, April, almost the same time. The early morning, I opened my FB, Facebook. I got some message from my friends in Minneapolis. Chief, we found your artwork introduced in New York Times. This painting, Peace Be Still, because COVID-19 just happened. Los Angeles locked down in the end of March. You can remember that time? Horrible. Yeah, we need a peaceful message. So you can see the many friends send message. Gee, your artwork in New York Times now. We are so happy. That's very, very good friends. So the Minneapolis time zone is 2 hours early than West Coast California time. So my friends very enjoy. Yeah. So this, yeah. So you can see right now, I put last month, I put this image on my Facebook. Prayer for Ukraine. We need peaceful message. So you see my painting, let's see clearly. Yeah. We need peaceful message. Transfer through disciples' heart. We need peace. We are living in a world not so peaceful, particularly since 1940, September 11th. Yeah, we need a peaceful world. We need peace. The most important of gospel message, just sharing peaceful message. The people worshiping Sunday morning in the church, shaking hands, peace be with you. This is the most important gospel message, I think so, for sharing peace. Yeah, so pray for Ukraine. Yeah, so you can see there are many comments. People were touched by seeing peaceful message. As a Christian artist, yeah, the most important for sharing peaceful message. Yeah, so I got many comments. There is one looks he shared Archbishop Canterbury, the new peace. Yeah, we pray God of peace and justice. Yeah, Anglican Archbishop. I was invited by the former Archbishop Williams come to visit the UK to have my exhibition there in Oxford. The Williams addressed on our open 2007. Yeah. So friendly. So we still kept some connection with it. Yeah. So continue sharing another painting. Red Sea Crossing. You all know this story. Moses leading people escaped from Egypt. Yeah, the Pharaoh's army. Yeah, so you know the story. I don't want to explain. Yeah, so I will tell you this battlefield this war not just only happened in Ukraine, but also happened in Chinese Mandarin speaking groups, even here in California. So I was invited to join some artist group, different artist group, WeChat, you know this WeChat, like American people sharing with FB, Facebook, WeChat. So I joined, this is a Bay Area artist group. So people, when the Ukraine war was happened, people angry with Russia, invite Ukraine. But the leader, I don't know, some leader always, the leader refuse people talking about. Then he mentioned, here, this is an artist group. Do not talk about the war. We are artists. So I just say, what's your meaning? Your means art. Artists who don't care human suffering. So you can see. Then later, I was moved by her on this group chat. So this battle war happened in Chinese people's WeChat group also. The same time happened. So the people always fighting against Russia.
So the government of China does not like you.
I'm living here.
All of you have family members that
Yeah.
are infected,
Yeah,
who live there.
that's true. Yeah. So I sharing, I was invited by Westmont College in Santa Barbara. Also sharing this picture. So as an artist, Picasso during World War II. Yeah, so you know the Guernica, the city was bombed, destroyed by Hitler. So you know, so artist Picasso did paint this painting, Guernica. So we are artists. We have to, we have to care about human suffering, not just to do my artwork. No more interesting in the real world. No. Yeah, this is another by Chagall, my favorite artist. Yeah, his painting also made by different kind of stained glass. Yeah, I was living in Minnesota for more years. Yeah, sometimes I'm missing Chagall. His stained glass painting. I brought to Chicago to see the art institute, to see his blue color stained glass there. So you can see he did a painting. He's a Jewish, so you know, from Russia. Yeah, Belarus. Yeah. Then because during Stalin time, Jewish people was oppressed by the government, so he moved to Paris. But during World War II happened, Paris, 1940, occupied by Hitler. Hitler, you know, he oppressed the Jewish people. So he moved to United States. So he did a painting, the Ukraine family. So after 80 years, the same thing happened. The same. I just shared it in my WeChat friends. So this just talking about that's it. Oh, just simply talking about my art career. The first looking for piece. I was born in a family of a famous mathematics professor. My father was a very famous mathematics professor. Yeah, so last year, he was a former professor in Nanjing University. The former Nanjing was the former capital city of China. Nan means south, Jing means capital. Then since 1949, the capital was moved to Beijing. Bei means north, Jing means capital. Now from southern capital to north capital. So in the former capital of the city, Nanjing, there was a famous university, Nanjing Central University. So my father was a graduate from the university, then become a professor teaching mathematics. Last year, yeah, my father passed away by cancer during 1990s, only 69 years old. Yeah. So last year, the university mathematics department, they did a celebration, commemorate for my father's 100th anniversary of my father. Yeah. So this is last year. Yeah, last year in my father's university. So I was from the mathematics family. So my father had a dream. He had 5 kids. I was third. He thought maybe only me, very clever boy, could continue to keep his job to become the next famous mathematician. Yeah. If I become a mathematician, maybe your church will interesting. So, but my father's dream was, disappeared during Cultural Revolution was happening. So you know Cultural Revolution from beginning of 1966 and 1978, 10 more years. Yeah, this is the Cultural Revolution. Just follow great leader, the dictator, the great leader China Mao. Yeah, you can see the time when China would act, all people crazy because the great leader is crazy, the dictator crazy, like Russia right now, Putin crazy. Yeah, so this is what happened during Cultural Revolution. We, as a Chinese, we had too much struggle spirit. We criticize everything too much. What we lack is peaceful message. When we put on peaceful message, you can see that the people went to the Buddhist temple, outside the Buddhist temple, burning the Buddhist sculpture. Yeah, this is Cultural Revolution. Just destroy culture, no culture, destroy everything. They criticize every culture in the world. Only follow great leader China. It's crazy. Yeah, there's Confucianism. His hometown in Shandong province, Xuzhou. They put it as slogan, the #1 terrible man. They want, the Red Guard want to destroy him. So there's a little small Buddhist temple outside my city, Nanjing, Qixiangshi. Yeah, just one night, the Red Guards coming, they destroyed all the statues, the sculptures. Yeah, after Cultural Revolution gone, the Buddhist temple reopened. The first important to look for missing head and arm and hands. And sometimes they found the head, but then they, that's a terrible time. I don't want to talk too more. Yeah, just follow. Yeah, in the end of 1960s, 1970s, then as a middle school student, I was in the countryside to do very hard farmer. I will tell you about my family. My mother, she was a history teacher teaching in middle school, high school. But during that time, both my father's university was closed and my mother's high school was closed. So every afternoon, every day, my mother, she had to join the political study. Very boring political study. Yeah, when afternoon, late afternoon, about 6 p.m. My mother wanted to go back home early for cooking for her 5 kids. But the leader leading the political study refused my mother go back home early because he said, this British channel, his new speech just coming, we need to study, continue study. But my mother took her material, the political study material. She went back home. But suddenly, one small red book falling down the floor. The director said, how dare you are, you threw out Chairman's Mao's book. Because of this reason, my mother became counter-revolution. So I still remember every morning, 6 a.m., early, 1 hour early. Comparison with me today, 7 a.m. to arrive your church, 6 a.m. Well, my mother, she had to falling down her knees in front of the Chairman Mao's portrait, the public place, everywhere, the Chairman Mao's portrait. Chairman Mao, please forgive me, what I did wrong, please forgive me. And 6 p.m., repeat again, whole month. My mother got mental problem. After, in 1990s, my mother had a big heart disease. We moved her to local hospital, but the doctor refused. No, we cannot take care of your mother. Your mother has mental problem. She will give a short of some influence to other patients. So we had a neighbor hospital take care of mental problem. So we moved my mother to the close to the neighbor hospital. But in another hospital, the doctor continued to refuse. No, we cannot take care of your mother. Your mother has dangerous heart disease. No way. We moved my mother back home. Only 1 week, my mother passed away. My mother back home, 1 week passed away. Died. So it's hard to say that even the Cultural Revolution vanished, still many tragedy linked with ordinary Chinese people, linked with the family. This is terrible, terrible time. So back to, I was in the countryside, but I think as a teenage boy, I could not do very hard farmer work. But I tell you, I was a very clever boy. So every day I'm looking for what things I can do to let me to avoid such very hard farmer work.
Yes, amen.
Yeah, if I can do painting, to paint 3D channel, I will be lucky. Actually, I was lucky. I had a very good labor in my living place in Nanjing City, the Nanjing University, the former Central University in China. They have Central Fine Art Department. Yeah, the professor. But then the Central University, the professor, the famous one, the director is Xu Beihong. Since 1949, moved to Beijing to become the Academy, Fine Art Academy president. Then another professor, Li Sibai, very famous. Yeah, he was, when he was young, he studied fine art in Paris. Very clever, very impressionist style, very colorful. So I still remember Cultural Revolution happened. Yeah, and the professor just stay at home because the university, he was the dean of Nanjing Normal University Fine Art Department, was closed. So he found me play with some other kids in the outside. We are neighbor, you know. So, hey, Chi, follow me. You know, follow him to his family. He showed me his artworks. Wonderful, an art book. You like it? Yes. I think you are very clever boy now. The time is not okay for you to study, for your father to study mathematics now. Follow me to study art. you maybe in the future you will become a famous artist. So I just follow. Then after 1 more years, I went to countryside. So I did bring some, I did borrow some of his art magazine pictures. The one magazine's cover very touched my heart. And Raphael's Madonna. Yeah, this is the Italian Renaissance artist, Raphael. Yeah, Madonna, Mary holding baby Jesus, so peaceful. Yeah, we are living at that time, no peaceful. Everybody criticize. This so peaceful. So in the daytime, I still can chant now, but back home in the midnight, I put my down. Cheering with my friends. Yeah, still this one is collected by my younger sister. She's still, yeah, I share in many. By sketch, by pencil, by oil painting. So peaceful. So even today, you can comparison with my artwork, still something linked with Raphael's Madonna. You can see. This is my in Beijing, the Yiheyuan for China open store welcome Jesus coming. Yeah, so you know, yeah, your concepts made a wonderful stained glass. Jesus open door. I dream this could be happening in China. Yeah. This is my Titanic. There is something different because behind of the boat. That means the dangerous things gone. Yeah. So now peaceful now. The real Titanic, you know, this is in front of the boat. Yeah. Finally, this is my Titanic. Cheering peaceful. Yeah, we need peaceful man. Cheering peace. Yeah. So you can see this. This for Lutheran Church, international conference in Hong Kong. Just 1 week in 1997, July, the same place, the Hong Kong government, written back to mainland China, the same place. So this is I did a sketch for Lutheran Church Federation of Jesus. Then they.
Could you go back to the sketch for just a minute?
Yeah, the sketch.
Now go to the picture.
Okay. Yeah, then they in effort they made a big texture. Yeah, HIV, you know, then some woman group. So I'm interested in the texture here. It's by your church ladies. Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, very nice. So the big banner, big texture in Chicago, around the United States, they had. This is in St. Paul and Minneapolis, long trip show, big, very huge. Yeah. From sharing, peaceful message. Yeah, the 2000. Yeah, the in Hong Kong Culture Center had my exhibition for New Millennium celebration. Hong Kong Culture Center. This is the Hong Kong Culture Center.
How long ago was it?
Yeah,
Was that become Hong Kong was really independent, or after the Chinese?
after 2,000 years. Yeah, year 2000. Unification in 1997. 3 years afterwards. Yeah, already. But I had a very good relationship with Hong Kong Christian Council, yeah, before 1997. 1990s, we had a very good friendship for sharing. This is a Minneapolis Twin City. a Good Samaritan. Yeah, I donated some artworks. Yeah, for Good Samaritan Center. Yeah, Good Samaritan. Yeah, this is in Guangzhou. You know the earthquake happened. Yeah, 2008 in Sichuan province, big earthquake. So we need to build very good for primary school because it's something very tragedy. The government building is still okay, but the primary school destroyed. So many students died, were killed. So we need to support the project to build a very strong primary school in the mountain area, the poor area, where earthquake happened. This. So I donate this our friends vision. This is I mentioned Canterbury occupation. I addressed my occupation in Oxford. Then after back to Minneapolis. Oh, they hold the royal wedding for their friends. Yeah, it's very friendly. Yeah, we had this just for sharing. I was invited to buy some different university colleges, seminaries to speak. This is in Yale University. I had my exhibition there. This is in Oxford University. New college. The new college actually is the very oldest college. This is Illinois. This is a Calvin College. Yeah, this is in Calvin. This is in New York, Manhattan, American Bible Museum exhibition. This is in Chicago. This is in Washington D.C. This is the New York, the Fifth Street Presbyterian Church. An exhibition 12 years ago. Yeah, this is in Chicago, Wheaton, Company Museum, Wheaton College. This is in Princeton, the seminary, the principal. It came from Scotland. This is Toronto in Canada. This is Australia. This is a WCC World Council of Churches. They invited me to be a keynote speaker to speak at Busan on the World Assembly. This is for CBF, Creative Public Fellowship in Atlanta, 5 years ago. This is 6 years ago. I had my exhibition in my hometown, Nanjing. Yeah, I had my exhibition there in Nanjing. The Nanjing Seminary, they sent the choir on my opening. But right now the situation changed. This 8 years ago, I think. Yeah, check. Some local television.
Explain that more. It changed how?
Not like 10 years. 10 years ago, it's more open. I mean, for religious. Yeah. Because my art was students on 5 or 50 school, religious art. It's but we just try. The situation right now is not okay comparison before. Yeah, recent 10 more years, not okay. But we just try. You may think your right is small, but it can make a huge differences in other people's lives. As a Christian artist, I just want to try my best to share peaceful messages with my artworks. But some artists always they think about sharing the suffering. Like a monk expression is fine. But for me, this is a scream. You know the Norwegian artist.
That's really suffering.
For me, I think we have too much suffering. We need to share a peaceful message through art. You can do, as artist, you can do. Yeah, this is, but artists, they choose different way. Yeah. Yes. We need to share a peaceful message. Gethsemane, you know this story? Jesus prayed. Yeah, it's funny, guarded. Peaceful message. Yeah, this is for the cover of our peaceful message. So I went to Italy, Assisi. You know, Assisi, St. Francis. I really enjoy St. Francis' prayer. Lord, make me an instrument of your peace. It's very, very touching my heart. Prayer, very strong. My artist inspiration, first based on the Bible. Yeah, actually since 1990s, I was concentrated to big story paintings because you know, at that time, 1990s, the Chinese economic growing so fast. Sometimes I got invitation to join us to do some decoration for the 5-star hotel, some big company. You will quickly become rich. But I think life is too short. I can only concentrate to do one thing in my short lifetime. Just focus on sharing peaceful messages through biblical story paintings. Yeah, it's my choice. Even I'm poor, but I'm happy. And also inherit the localization of Christian art tradition. Yeah, indigenous. Yeah, because the gospel messages not only belong to Western people, but also could belong to Chinese people, because the gospel message is universal. Actually, this is a tradition. Then even in Italy, yeah, I went to Italy in Florence to see the Uffizi gallery, and I found the Madonna looks like an Italian Florence lady walking down the street. It's an Italian localization, indigenous ways. Yeah. So you can see even the Last Supper, Da Vinci, he paints this painting in Milan. He used real water, yeah, citizen in Milan. So it's very Italian artworks. Yeah. So you know, I was a former professor in teaching in 1907. One day the visitor coming from Suzhou, another city in Jiangsu province, the pastor invited me to do a mural, a wall painting as a decoration for the new church in Suzhou. I suggest to use my painting. Yeah. My painting, this painting, I will share you. This you can see from here. This one. Yeah, this one. I can share you this one particularly. Yeah, this painting. Yeah, pastor could do a mural wall painting as a decoration for your new church. This image, the pastor looked at my picture. 2 minutes silence. Then finally he said, "No, this is too Chinese. What we need."
This is too Chinese.
Yeah, because the Jesus dressing an old Chinese clothes, you know. What we need, just make a copy of Da Vinci Last Supper. So the pastor said, "Well, we want to invite you to make a copy of Da Vinci Supper." I said, "No, I refuse." Yeah, I explain this is the Italian style. Yeah, you can invite our student to make a talk, not me. I want to do something different, comparison with Dr. Chitan. I'm an artist. I'm artistic. We are using different styles. So this also talking about Chinese Christian art history. Yeah, very some Chinese indigenous culture mixed together. So you can see the cross and the lotus. Lotus is a symbol of Buddhism. The Chinese Buddhism is really interesting too. And the cloth is a symbol of Taoism. Yeah. The flower is lotus, Buddhist. The cloth, Taoism, but the fruit is cross, Christianity. So this is the Tang Dynasty. Nestorian cross. Yeah, so you can see. This is the Ming Dynasty. Yeah, the Madonna holding a baby looks like a Chinese baby. The boy Jesus. Yeah, you can see. Yeah, the end of Ming Dynasty, the Annunciation. Yeah, so you can see the Annunciation, the angel coming to Mary, Madonna. Looks like the story was happening in Suzhou, in Jiangsu province, near my hometown. Yeah, the beautiful garden, the architecture, the houses, the style. Yeah, this is visitation. Yeah, visitation. I was invited by Boston University to read a chapter for the publication, for the book publication. I also introduced this. I put on my Facebook. Yeah, talking about this.
That's Chinese.
This is a Chinese way. This is during end of Ming Dynasty, the Jesuits. Yeah, they invite some local Chinese woodcut block printing the masters to make this kind of as an illustration for the rosary. Yeah, you can see this is a visitation. Elizabeth with Mary with Elizabeth. You can see. Yeah, this Annunciation as an illustration for the rosary in the Roman Catholic Church. Very indigenous Chinese way. And church bomb. You can see the this. Then open wall happened. 19th century, you know the open wall. Yeah, so there's the around southeast coast. So along this coast, they built many Gothic church. This is in Guangzhou, and so very western part. Then later, so you know what things happened. Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania, we call Pennsylvania. They're very horrible, they're terrible. They just kill missionaries, Western missionaries. This is a terrible town. Then 1920s, the church in China, they started to a movement. This movement is so-called Chinese indigenous. Yeah, about 100 years ago. So this is a Catholic University in Beijing, Furen. Now the university moved to Taiwan now. Some professor paint some pictures, then published, printed as a poster. So I was invited to join this Christian poster research, published a book in Boston University. Yeah, talking about this, the tradition. Yeah, this professor, the Annunciation. Very typical Chinese way. Yeah, very typical Chinese. Jesus locking the door. Can see Jesus locking the door. Yeah, so I wrote a chapter to comparison with this traditional Chinese way to what's the influence. Yeah, this this is my visitation. Very common. Yeah, the little boat, the bridge, the red napkin, very typical Chinese way. The boy Jesus in the temple. Yeah, 12 years old age. Yeah, very clever discussing debate to the Chinese Buddhists, yeah. Taoists. So the first miracle. Wedding. But in some poor mountain area, even the husband never seen his wife before wedding. So after wedding finished, back home, open. Some were happy. Oh, very happy. Oh, so nice. Some were angry. This is old history.
Some little promise at birth, right?
Yeah, young and young. Yeah, the five clever virgin. The prodigal son. Prodigal son. So you can see the leaves. We got 落叶会跟 leaves falling down. Yeah, the root, the tree.
Father was angry, yes?
No.
Two, yeah, because elder brother unhappy,
Yes,
but yeah, this
but the person in the white shirt is the father, yes.
yeah this yeah father,
And his face-
father you can see the statue,
But his face is angry.
yeah, to his elder brother. The Easter morning, the three women are arriving at home. In Chinese cultural history, there is a very lovely story. Liang Shanbo, Zhu Yingtai. Yeah, the couple, they want to marry together, but both family refused. So they suicide, like Shakespeare, Romeo, Juliet. Then they become a butterfly. They become a butterfly. Yeah, 梁山伯与祝英台 butterfly. So all the Venice. But I went to Rome to see the catacomb. 2,000 years, the early Christians are using peacock as a symbol of heaven. Peacock. Yeah, but in China, they use phoenix. Yeah, phoenix. Yeah. That's a resurrection. Jesus up here is resurrection now. So, for our Chinese art tradition, the main tendency of Chinese art tradition is we call Zen religion. Yeah, in New York's Metropolitan Museum, there is a Chinese corner. They collect some traditional Chinese landscape, bamboo, black and white, fresh and ink and water, no color, the traditional, the main tendency. Because for Chinese scholar, they choose Confucianism to read many books. If good, yeah, he can pass the official examination to become very important man, to enter the official circle, to become the very important man to conquer the power. But sometimes they will lose their power. So they choose Zen. It's a kind of Indian Buddhism mixed with Chinese Taoism. Yes, the founder of Chan culture, Mid-Tang Dynasty, Wang Wei. Wang Wei, he was a famous Chinese scholar painter. First, he published on teacher examination. He became vice president of the central government, very high position. But just one day, he was involved political turbulence. He was put into prison. Then, after many years in prison, he returned back, no more interested in real world, living in the mountain, dialogue with the mountain, the stream, the bamboo he painted. He was a founder of Chinese Chan religion painting. Yeah, no more interested in real world. But as a Christian artist, Jesus side, that become the light of the world. God did creation, let there be light. So God creation a colorful world. So I do like impressionism style. Yeah, much many color for sharing. So I don't want to continue follow the traditional Chinese China religions. Yeah, Jesus side become the light of the world. I'm like descendants. Yeah, I got some English by Vincent van Gogh Starry Night. Yeah, you cannot count the story of your descendants. Like the angels. And also I got some Chinese folk art, the Beijing opera, the driver, you know this. There's a devil in the middle. The moment, the Beijing drama. Yeah. The devil in the Jarvis, yeah, Beijing drama. That's 3 kings present the gifts. Calling on St. Paul. The city, Damascus. Solomon. Yeah. So when I displayed this my art exhibition, including this one in Hong Kong Cultural Center, then there's some Hong Kong people they ask, well, this looks like a Baohong story. The Chinese very popular Baohong. The story is very the official during Song Dynasty, but actually in Song Dynasty 1,000 years ago, there are many Jewish people immigrated to the capital city of Song Dynasty in Kaifeng. Yeah, many Jewish people. They did bring the Old Testament story thing. So they mixed together. Yeah, because the people really, local people like the Baogong. The Baogong is a judge, very friendly, very good, yeah, for the local family or local people. So after he passed away, people, many stories. So this mixed together. This is a judges, yeah, from Old Testament, Solomon's. I got a very strong influence by Chinese folk art and Chinese minority people. Very colorful. It's different comparison with Chinese religion, black and white. It's very colorful. I went to Tibet, living there over 3.5 years. It's my oil painting. It's a Lama temple. Yeah, you can see. Yeah, 3.5 years.
At a young age.
So I did some oil painting, sketch, a temple. Yeah, you can see. But I did this so quickly. like Monet. Yeah, I did many copies of Buddhist temple in Tibet. Then I had an exhibition in Beijing Central Art Museum. The first time in 1980s, first time to introduce Tibetan religious Buddhist temples art, frescoes. It's some old from Tang Dynasty, over 1,000 years ago. It's my oil painting, but it's too dark. Yeah, I just use it. It's too dark. I cannot. Yeah, for impressionist style, the French artists, they are also do under the sunshine. Not like me, under in the temple. Inside, very dark. This is NASA city. I just mentioned about for Chinese art history, not only the main tendency of Chinese scanner painting, Chinese religion painting, but also should be included folk Chinese folk arts and Chinese minority people art, folk arts, very colorful. Yeah, so you can see some. This is a Tibetan lady dancing. This is Tibetan lady. Yeah. There's a John Baptist, also like Tibetan. It's very typical Tibet. So, and I went to southwest part of the mountain area to make a tapestry, a big story. I designed this very minority people, 土家, Miao. You heard about Miao? Monk, here we call monk. Yeah, so you can see a good Samaritan. This is a very minority people.
Can I ask a question now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Use this painting as an example. How long, what gave you the idea to do it? How long did it take you to work on the sketch that you do? And you throw one away and keep sketching, and then how much time do you spend actually doing the real work?
It's very hard, you know. So all the each painting, not the same. It's all the different. Yeah, for this picture, this year, it's you know, I got scholarship to study medieval art and also traveling around 10 different European countries. Even in UK, the British Museum, I have seen some Egyptian art. Egyptian art also this.
Yes.
Yeah. So when I finished my trip, I will tell you. I traveling. My professor, he was a famous art historian. He was the dean of Hamburg Fine Art Museum. Well, every week I went to his office discussing about medieval art. We are talking about altarpiece, manuscript, cheap follow them back to the museum to see the real medieval altarpiece. We discuss. So I sometimes I traveling back report to my professors. I want to do some art creation right now. My professor reviews me. No. You have to finish your dissertation. You finish after you see many art original, then you can start your art creation. So I finished my dissertation. I got a PhD. I started my painting. A lot of influence fulfill my mind. Maybe some influence by Egyptian. I don't know. Just coming. Yeah. So step by step. Yeah, it's hard to see, but sometimes I did sketch, then continue to paint some color sketch as a draft. Yeah, there's a lady in Minneapolis, Presbyterian Church. She collects my sketch. She came to visit my studio. Oh, I'm interested in collect my sketch and the color graphs. Yeah. So it's hard to see. Yeah, so this kind of technique, the process is first I have to do a sketch as I did many different sketches. Then I choose one, and I not to do some color painting. I'm using the Japanese gouache and Chinese ink and the Korean rice paper. Yeah, all Asian. Yeah. So then on the back, the Korean rice paper back side, I paint some brush and ink with water on the back, black ink with water on the back. And in the front, I paint the color, and after dry, I scrub the paper. Then, in order to get some texture, yeah. Then all finished, I did bring to a local framing shop in Nanjing, in my city, to ask them to frame according to Chinese traditional way. But sometimes they're using water will damage my color. Sometimes, like that painting, the first one damaged because Nanjing Museum, the master, they have this very famous master, but they never mount my color painting. They only mount the traditional Chinese brush, ink. Yeah, it's a difference. So my painting destroyed, damaged, I paint again. Another. There's only one master in Nanjing who can help me to mount. Yeah, my painting. Step by step. It's hard to say. Yeah, but sometimes I destroy my art. I continue to paint a new one. Like, oh, it's terrible. So it's very hard. Yeah, step by step. Yeah. So, I already say it's on my painting spent all my life. My traveling experience. Yeah.